Welcome to the Boomer Technician channel. This week we're not going to a specific car show, but we are going to see a couple of rather cool cars, and both of them are fairly rare. Now, let me explain. Last year I went up to Wisconsin for Mustang II Reunion, number 10, and I saw my good friend Robert Kennedy there, but unfortunately Robert wasn't able to bring his Mustangs along. So this week, on my way back from some other car shows, I stopped in Omaha, Nebraska at Robert's house, and we looked at both his cars, talked about those a little bit, and we also talked about some books Robert has published. Robert's a bit of a Renaissance man. He's published books, he's published online, and he also runs his own business. So he's got a lot of irons in the fire, but he's always fun to be around and has a lot of insight onto the Mustang product. But I wanted to clarify one thing we discussed in the video. We talked about the Mustang Reunion number 11 in Bellevue, Washington. And Robert directed you to a Facebook page for the Mustang II Reunion group. And the reunion is discussed there, but you have to be a member of the reunion group to actually see the Facebook page. But a better place to go for information on the reunion is the MCA webpage, the Mustang Club of America webpage, because the reunion is being held in conjunction with an MCA regional show in Bellevue, Washington. Now, that show runs from July 16th to the 19th, but the actual show where you can come see all the cars is that Sunday at Bellevue Community College. And as I said, the MCA page has all that information, and the MCA puts on a really good show. So if you live up in Northwest Washington and you want to see some great Mustangs, along with a number of Mustang IIs, by all means, check out the MCA show, July 18th, 2026, at the Bellevue Community College. And with that, let's move on to our actual video. Well, this week we're not at a car show, but we had the opportunity to interview Robert Kennedy, who's well known in the Mustang II circles. He owns a couple of unique Mustang IIs that we'll take a look at, and he's also an author. So I'll let him introduce himself and give him a brief synopsis of who he is, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the books he's produced, and we'll look at his vehicles.
Thanks, Dave. Yes, I am Robert Kennedy. I am a lifelong Mustang enthusiast, former Porsche Premier Technician. But the last several years, I've been writing for the Ford Performance website till just recently, and published several books, including Unbridled, The Passion, Performance, and Politics Behind America's Favorite Pony Car, a series of children's books, and then more recently, Mustang Unbridled, The High-Octane History of Ford's Legendary Pony Car.
Well, that's a pretty impressive resume, Robert. But now let's talk about your personal cars.
Yeah, so I've owned 10 Mustangs over the years. Right now I have 2. I have a red 1978 King Cobra T-roof convertible, and then I have a Vista Orange 1977 Classic 2, which is an actual convertible. It's number 6 of just 24 that were actually shipped from Dearborn directly down to Emmis Coach Builders down in Clearwater, Florida, where they were built.
Now, Robert's cars are pretty rare, but they're not as rare as these Monroe Handlers that we saw last year at the Wisconsin show. So we talked about that for just a minute. So there's how many Monroe Handlers?
There was the steel body, then 6 initial fiberglass replicas, and 1 additional that was ordered from Ford as a Cobra 2 with T-tops, and then converted by Creative Carcraft to become an 8th and final official Monroe Handler.
There you go, folks. There's a reason why we call him the Mustang II expert. So outside of the Monroe Handlers, your Classic 2 convertible is the rarest of the Mustang IIs.
Yes, sir.
And then your King Cobra.
Yep.
That's a 1-year model. How many of those were built?
There were 4,971 King Cobras built, 1,724 of them with the T-top option.
So that's the 3rd rarest Mustang II.
It might be. You might be running into the Stallion,
yeah,
maybe with even lower numbers than that.
Certainly in terms of survivors, the King Cobra has done better.
For sure, yeah.
Now, the King Cobra shares the V8 driveline with the Cobra 2, but there are some unique features to the King Cobra. Could you list those off for me?
Yeah, sure. Immediately noticeable, the front air dam underneath the King Cobra is unique to that, and tucked inside of that are actually brake cooling ducts, which are absolutely model exclusive. Those didn't make it onto anything else. You also have little side spats in front of the rear wheels that flare out, much like on the SVOs and other models later on in the 80s. Other than that, it's pretty much the standard 5-liter V8 in all the tape and graphics.
Like any good enthusiast, you can identify Robert as a true car guy by the wall of plaques and signs, some of which are absolutely unique one-offs that he has acquired over the years as a part of his Mustang enthusiasm. Robert, tell me a little bit about this Mustang II Monroe Hamler poster.
Well, that's actually a pretty cool piece there. That is a little poster that was made for and then signed by all the attendees of the very first Mustang II National Reunion back in 2016. If anybody watching this is interested in attending this year's Mustang II Reunion, it is July 18 and 19 up in Bellevue, Washington. You can go to the Facebook page for the official Mustang II National Reunion to register.
All right, Robert, if you could just tell me about your children's books. I think those are really cool. And don't forget to tell people that they're a perfect gift for the grandkids.
That they are. So, an Unauthorized Future Driver's Guide is an 8-book series that are designed to inspire conversation between generations. They're designed for kids to read them with their parent or with their grandparent, as there's a character on each page of the book, different characters on different pages that ask different questions of the reader. As they're learning about cars, they can actually learn about their own family history. The books are antique American cars, which is pre-World War II, vintage American cars, which are post-World War II through about 1964, followed by a book dedicated to American muscle cars, a book dedicated to sports cars the world over, whether they're from Europe or Japan or America, one on Porsches, one on the Chevrolet Corvette for its full history since '53, one on the Ford Mustang for its full history since '64, and one that I actually co-authored with my boys about American military vehicles.
Well, that wraps up the interview, but Robert did want me to see a original stretch of the Lincoln Highway where the original bricks are exposed. It's fairly close to his house, and if you don't know what the Lincoln Highway is, it was the first transcontinental highway built in America, and I believe it was built using private money. Here's Robert looking proud, and there's a plaque that's near his house. And, you know, he looks pretty good crouched down on those bricks. Well, that wraps up this video. We bounced around a little bit when I was interviewing Robert and touched on several different topics, but hopefully it all stitched together in a fairly cohesive way. And that sort of bouncing around reminds me of this. No matter where you go, there you are.